last lesson for this week, lesson 4 in chapter 1, distributive property. This is a fun one. I mean, that sounded kind of nerdy because it's math, but I do enjoy the distributive property. To me, it seems pretty easy. There's no exceptions. The rule stays the same. So distributive property is whenever you have numbers inside parentheses and a number outside parentheses, you have to multiply everything inside by the number outside. So it gives you an example right here. It has 6 times 8 plus 10, and all they're doing, it's literally written right there. I'll just write it out again. 6 times 8 plus 10. They could add 8 plus 10 first and then multiply it by 6. They absolutely could do that, but then they wouldn't be using distributive property. So I am going to distribute this 6 on the outside to each number on the inside. And so what do I do? What is that? Is it 6 plus 8? Is it 6 minus 8? Is it 6 times 8? What is it? It's always multiplication. So I'm going to say 6 times 8 plus, and then I'm going to multiply 6 times 10. That's the distributive property. And then I just simplify. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 10 is 60. And when I add 48 and 60, I get 108. And that's all they got over here when they were showing you their steps. So this is not a thing where you have to list out properties like the last set of notes. It's all distributive property, so you're literally just solving. It's just algebra. That's all it is. All right, so down here with the exercises, we're just going to kind of skip around. For this, it helps to watch me do it because it doesn't really explain what they want you to do. So what it's asking here is, like, you're kind of supposed to learn to use mental math. I can't just multiply 20 times 31 in my head, right? But, well, actually, that's kind of an easy one. You could. But I can multiply 20 times 30 plus 1, right? That's easier in my head. 20 times 30 is 600, and 20 times 1 is 20. And I can add those together. That's easy. So they want you to, whatever's in parentheses here, or whatever the second number is, they want you to separate it and then distribute. So I'm going to multiply the 20 times both terms. So that's 20 times 30 plus 20 times 1. 20 times 30 is 600. So the answer is 620. Okay, number 2, they give you a fraction. And it's being multiplied, so we could just put parentheses around it, right? So they're wanting you to separate that fraction, put the 4 in front, put the fraction part behind, and then multiply the 12 times each. So 12 times 4 plus 12 times 1/2. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 times 1/2, what's half of 12? 6. 48 plus 6 is 54. Okay, 5 times 3, 11. Think about what an easy mental math separation that would be. So I'm going to separate 311 into 300 plus 11. Whatever's in parentheses still has to be worth 311, right? We just have to make it look different. So to me, this makes more sense because I can easily multiply 5 times 300, and I can easily multiply 5 times 11. 5 times 3 is 15, and then there's 2 zeros on the end of it, right? 5 times 300 is 1500. 5 times 11 is 55. So my answer is 1555. I'm skipping around a little bit. All right, down here, I'm going to distribute this 12 to each term. The terms are always separated by a plus or a minus sign. Excuse me. So I'm going to say 12 times 2 plus 12 times 1/2 x. Now, whenever there's a variable and there's no equal sign, you're not going to be able to simplify all the way, but you just have to get as close as you can. So 12 times 2 is 24, and 12 times 1/2 x, 12 times 1/2, half of 12 is 6. So that's 6x. And you're done. You can't combine these because they're not like terms. So that's it. If we multiply this guy, we get 1/4 times 12. Bring down that minus sign. 1/4 times 4t. Whatever number's out front, you multiply by each term inside parentheses. terms are separated by plus and minus signs. That's really important. Let's write that. Terms separated by plus minus. Terms are separated by plus and minus signs. Okay, so we're back down here. 1/4 of 12, basically 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 1/4 times 4, well, didn't we just learn a property that said if you multiply a number by its reciprocal, the answer is just 1? So 1/4 times 4t is just going to give me 1t. They cancel each other out. So here I've got 3 minus t. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Number 9, last one. We've got 2 variables here. Excuse me. I'm going to multiply 3 times 2x, bring down that minus sign, and then I'm going to multiply 3 times y. 3 times 2x is 6x, minus 3 times y is 3y. Done. Can't simplify anymore. All right? So if you have questions on that, let me know. A little bit more, the back side of distributive property here. We're simplifying expressions. Let's see. Simplify expressions. A term is a number variable product, blah, 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 like terms. Simplify. Okay, so here we're using we're solving and we're listing out the properties. Now it looks like we're pretty much using distributive, but we might be using other stuff too. Multiplicative identity. So let's do a couple of these together. All right, 12a minus 1a is what? 12a minus a just gives us 11a. So that's substitution. Okay, 3x plus 6x. When we add those together, we get 9x. I feel like I'm like probably not doing something wrong. That's substitution. Oh, you know what it's wanting us to do? My fault. Didn't even read it. Actually, we are undoing these. We're factoring. That's what it's wanting us to do. Okay. Didn't say that. Wasn't clear. So what we just did, we're going to go backwards. All right. So when we're looking at this, instead of starting off with parentheses and then multiplying and then getting this as our answer, let's go backwards. So what could I divide all of these by? Can I divide by 2? Yep. Can I divide by 3? No. Can I divide by 4? Yes. Can I divide by anything else? Nope, 4 is the biggest number. So if I divide each of these by 4, how would I rewrite that? Whatever I'm dividing each of these by, I'm going to put that number out front, and then whatever I get left over after I divide is going to go inside parentheses. So 20a divided by 4 is 5a. Bring down my plus sign. 12a divided by 4 is 3a. And then negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. Right? And then you could go a step further and you could combine the 5a and the 3a and say 8a minus 2. 4 times 8a minus 2. Excuse me. But we just factored out a common factor there. So we're done. All right, number 5. 3x squared plus 2x squared. What do both of these terms have? What can I divide both of these by? They both have an x squared. Okay, so when I rewrite that, whatever I divided them both by, I'm going to put that out front, and everything left over after I divide is going to go in parentheses. So 3x squared minus x squared just gives me 3, plus 2x squared divided by x squared just gives me 2. And then we can keep going, right? But I just want to see that you can factor. That's all they're looking for this whole. So that's probably going to be what's on your practice worksheet you have to turn into. I haven't looked at it. All right, and then for this one, what can I divide each of these terms by? Can I divide them all by 2? No. Can I divide them all by 3? No. 4? No. 5? No. So the number parts, they're not going to have that in common. What do they all have? What could I divide all of these terms by? X. I can divide this guy by x, I can divide this guy by x, and this guy by x. So negative 6x divided by x equals negative 6. Oh, I have to put my x out front. everything left over after you divide inside parentheses. Negative 6 plus 3x squared divided by x is 3x, plus 10x squared divided by x is 10x. If I were to go forwards now, I could distribute this x. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times 10x is 10x squared. We have to know our properties of exponents, and that's probably something we're going to go over again soon. I probably won't do a lesson on it. I'll just put up a little cheat sheet, and it'll give you some pointers on exponent rules. Let's just do a couple more, and then I'm done. 2p plus 1/2 q. How could I separate that? What could I do? Could I divide them both by 1/2? This has a 1/2 out front. Could I divide this by 1/2? I could. They both have a different variable, but I could divide by 1/2. Okay, and whenever you divide by a fraction, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply, instead of dividing by 1/2, I'm going to multiply by 2/1 to each of these terms. So 2 times 2p is 4p, plus 2 times 1/2, 2/1 times 1/2 is just 1. So that gives me q. Skip over here to number 9. Hopefully I'm showing this okay. All right, what do each of these have in common? Can we group them? Yes. Look at these two. They both have an A. Look at these two. They both have a B. So I'm going to separate these out. So I'm going to separate the 21A and the 18A. What could I divide those both by? I can divide them both by 3A. So I'm going to write that 3A in front, and then everything after I divide will go inside parentheses. 21 divided by 3 is 7. A divided by A, they just cancel out. Plus 18A divided by 3A is 6, and then the A's cancel out. Plus, and then what can I divide both of these guys by? Well, I can't divide them by any numbers because 3 and 31 don't have any common factors, but I can divide them both by B. They've both been multiplied by B, so I can divide them both by B. So B and B, I'm going to put that B out front, and then 31 minus 3 there. So I factored both of these. Even though it's all together in one expression, you can still group them, right? That's the associative property. Whenever I'm adding, and this is really adding a negative number. I know that's a little confusing. Remember your signs of integers. Whenever I'm adding, I can group however I want. That doesn't change my answer. It doesn't change the value of my expression. So that's the associative property. So I went ahead and did that. And then I could pull out or factor out numbers from each group. Let's see if we can do another one kind of like that. Anything have anything different? This one kind of does. I'm going to do this one on a different, like the back side of a sheet of paper maybe. Here. I promise this is the last one. I feel like I keep saying that. All right, so number 10 here, I have 4x plus 1/4, 16x minus 20y. So I'm going to simplify this all the way, but I'm going to start with a distributive property. So I can distribute that 1/4 to this term and to this term. So I have 4x plus 1/4 times 16x minus 1/4 times 20y. So I've distributed. Now I have to simplify. So 4x plus 1/4 times 16. It's like saying 16 divided by 4 is 4x. Bring down my minus sign. 1/4 times 20. What's 20 divided by 4? 5y. And then I could keep going and say 8x minus 5y. And I can't simplify anymore. There's no equal sign. I have two variables. That's as far as I can go. Okay, hopefully that gave you kind of the gist of what we're doing. Again, the entire lesson is listed at the top of this study guide, both sides of it, and you have the entire study guide linked here in this folder. So read through it, pay attention, watch the video, and let me know if you have questions. Thanks.